How's it going, everybody? The Seer here, and I'm doing my defense video for you guys. Now, I am going to end up having 2 teams per room that you kind of throw in there. The secondary team, I am going to be showing basically no Mephistos. I know we're probably at about 8,000 or 9,000 Mephistos in the game, but I still wanted to cater to those people that don't have Mephisto. You're going to be able to try to pick and choose which team will work per room. You might be able to even kind of get your own creative juices flowing to say, hey, you know what, this team I can use here, I can throw something else over here. So I'm really hoping I can help you guys out with this. Now, I did end up getting to rank 103 currently. I'm trying to break into that top 100. At the top 100, they do have those vanity frame, so I'm kind of doing that just for bragging rights. I keep getting close to the top 100 and falling short at the end of the season. I'm really hoping I can kind of break through and get that this season. Let's go ahead and check out the defenses now. Right, for stage 1, I'm going to keep the same team that I've had in here for a couple weeks now, which is the Extreme X-Men, Rogue, and Dorm. I do have them all as strikers, and this team usually pulls a very important team for my opponent, or it ends up getting a victory, meaning that my opponent dropped an attack on there. So this team has been working fantastic for me, and I plan to keep using it until it basically fails me. I have other teams that can go in that stage 4 and stage 5, and making these team in stage 1 to where they're all strikers is actually very deadly, and it could really mess up my opponent's attack and kind of cadence, if you will. Now, the Illuminati with Black Knight in stage 1 is a very dangerous team, and it's very hard to get one shot on because of all the assists that they end up having, and the fact that Captain Britain is so important, and the bigger the Captain Britain, the more better this team can actually be in stage 1. This is another fantastic option that you could put in stage 1. I plan to use Illuminati elsewhere with Captain Britain. Now, I know a lot of people don't have Captain Britain, so what I would recommend doing is sticking to the team that I'm using, which is that Extreme X-Men, Rogue, and Dorm. But I definitely want to show this team off as a stage 1 option because of how good this team is in stage 1. It's one of the best defenses that you can have in Cosmic Crucible right now. Let's go ahead and move over to stage 2 next. Now, this is going to be a team where you definitely need to have Blade unlocked. So if you have Blade unlocked, I do plan to use this team in stage 2. What this team gives you is the 3-piece Night Stalker team, and Blade is a very good character already. We're going to end up putting Black Knight in here, so there's going to be that pre-taunt with the Retaliates, and Captain America as the 5th option. Captain America will end up giving the deflex out, which means Moon Knight is going to end up getting the offense up. Also, Captain America, if he ends up using a special, it does have a way of giving ability energy out to the allies on this team. Having the reflexive taunt of Captain America is just another threat in here, so I think this defense can actually pull something pretty important from my opponent. And people's going to be worried about Blade as well, so they might try to ignore Black Knight, move over to Blade. And I think this can kind of steamroll. So I'm really curious how this team is going to be doing. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on this and maybe find other ways to improve this team. Now, another team that you can end up using in here is going to be the Out of Time with Sasquatch. We're going to have the pre-taunt and Sasquatch on here. The Out of Time is just an efficiency sync. And the main threat on here for the damage is going to be Cosmic Ghost Rider. However, if Starbrand does get a few turns off, he could actually interrupt my opponent because the damage output that he is able to bring. People usually underestimate a big Starbrand, and he has caught a few people off guard before. Let's go ahead and move over to stage 3 next. Now, this is the team that caught me off guard, and it's a very, very dangerous team in stage 3. What we have in here is going to be the Annihilators with Super Skrull and Spider-Man Pavitra. The way this team works is Spider-Man Pavitra on spawn will put vulnerables out on the opponent. Because he's a striker, he's going to go first, hit somebody, get a striker hit on it, and if there's not a way to break the stealth, he could do massive damage outright to your opponent. The Super Skrull also is going to be hidden into an exposed or a vulnerable target. He's going to start with a special, which is going to put an exposed out. So he ends up doing a triple tap, and he could delete Old Man Logan right off the bat before your opponent even gets a turn. This is a very nasty, very dangerous team, and I am going to be using this the next 2 weeks. I ran into this on my round 3 opponent, and I saw Dorky Dad and Saw Owner end up using it. And this is going to disrupt a lot of people on defense, so definitely look out for this one. Now, another option that you could do is going to be the 4-piece of the Annihilators, and using Dorm to where they get the revive once. That's just going to be more of an efficiency thing. The same team's going to beat it, but it's going to pull a lot more turns for your opponent, which can disrupt them. And this is going to allow it to where you can actually use your Super Scroll elsewhere. Because the same team that ends up beating this with Super Scroll will beat it without Super Scroll, if that makes any sense. So putting this on here, I think could be pretty nasty as well. I did use this for a couple of weeks, and it did pretty well for me. Let's go ahead and move over to stage 4 next. Now for stage 5, this team here is very deadly, and it could throw off a lot of people as well. What we have here is going to be the Spider Society Team 3-piece. We did take Pavitra out so we can use them in that stage 3. We're going to keep Spider-Man Noir in and add Spider-Weaver in. Spider-Weaver and Spider-Man Noir have that tangled web call out with each other, so they work very well. And adding Weaver in with the Spider Society and Mephisto makes it to where the double sack Secret Defenders really doesn't work. The only way that would work is if they end up taking that 10 minutes to log in and time out, they'd go back in type of thing, doing that twice for 10 minutes. That did end up throwing me off to where I couldn't use that because I still had charges on Spider-Weaver, so I had to instead pivot and use my Superior 6th as the final hit. I'm not sure if the new Warriors would have worked on this. I didn't really want to risk it, but it is a possibility. But this here, this could disrupt a few people and throw you off guard. So definitely look out for this defense in stage 4 because of the stealth and how everything ends up working on here. Now, another option that you can have in stage 4 is going to be the Extreme X-Men 4-piece. I do prefer Cyclops in here because of having that threat of pushing somebody and getting forged to end up taking another turn. Having Rogue in here as well works very well with the Extreme X-Men. It has for a few seasons now, but I do definitely like this one in stage 4 because of how they could basically go in stealth right off the bat, and then you kind of are forced to pick and choose who you can end up attacking off of who is not in stealth. And then, like I mentioned, having that threat of accidentally killing somebody, Cyclops pushes Forge, and then things could get out of hand very quickly off of that. Now, this is probably the most dangerous defense that I actually have on my list. This is going to be the Illuminati with Captain Britain and Odin. So far, since I've gotten Odin, which has been 2 weeks now, nobody has been able to clear this room. This is the stone wall of my defense and basically ensures that as long as I can get a full clear, I'm able to get the victory. What this room does is the threat of Captain Britain. You're going to have the speed up that Hank Pym gives, Black Panther Shuri with the ability blocks, the extra health that Black Bolt ends up giving, and then you have Odin. If you end up doing the double sack method into this, you need to be very cautious not to have Odin get those charges on him. Otherwise, you're going to be walking into a character that has essentially 500 speed and being able to ult on turn 1. It's very dangerous and things can go sideways very quickly. I've had 1 or 2 people get close to being able to do this. However, they messed up either the sack or not doing any burn attacks at all. So this here is probably the biggest threat for the defense that I actually have right now. The other option that you could end up doing in stage 5 is going to end up being the Hive Mind with Spider-Man Noir and Black Knight. What this causes for your opponent is if they come in with somebody with a lot of buffs on them, Spider-Man Noir is going to be ulting turn 1, which could do massive damage, put a lot of bleeds out there, and potentially give your opponent the speed up on the Carnage. Boy Knight will end up ulting as well. That's going to pull everybody together, have a chance to push more characters in red, get the ability block, and then you have the retaliates from Black Knight. This can get out of hand very quickly. I tried to do a one-shot on this. I backed out. I did the burn attack, and then I almost lost that 3rd hit, even with the exhaust on Black Knight. This defense can ruin a lot of people's days, honestly. So definitely be on the lookout for this, and I do think this works very well in Stage 5. Stage 5 is going to make it to where if they end up attacking into any of the hero characters, which there are 3 of them, these characters will end up getting the deflect and you'll get defense down on you, and then the Black Knight's going to be retaliating into a defense down character, which could be pretty devastating. Let's go ahead and move over to Stage 6. Now for Stage 6, I'm going to end up using the full Orcus team in here. I was tempted to keep Omega Sentinel out and throw in somebody in here that could be a very good support option. Somebody like a Dorm would work very well in here. However, I'm using Dorm in Stage 1 with the Extreme X-Men, so you can definitely do that yourself. Putting Super Skrull in here is very dangerous as well. If you have a Scientist Supreme that has a Healer 3 on it, that is one of the counters into the Cabal team, and it makes the Cabal counter not as effective if they don't put the correct support characters with the Cabal team as well. Another option would be taking out Omega Sentinel. I have seen Dorm, I've seen Super Skrull, I've seen Quicksilver. There's a lot of plug and play options that you can do with this Orcus team. And the fact that we're getting more shards for Sentinel makes it where those bots are going to be a little bit more difficult to push for your Hive Mind and New Warriors team. I've yet to make it to where New Warriors works as a counter into this. Usually I'll do New Warriors, then Hive Mind follow-up. And that basically gives a 2-tap on this type of team. Now, if you do end up going with the Super Skrull or Dorm option, this is the layout that I would end up doing for this. Basically, try to get it to where the stealth characters are going to break up the field for you. They need to pick and choose. Do I want to try to take out the threat that is Lady Deathstrike? Or do I want to take out the Reviver and Healer support character that is Scientist Supreme on the opposite side of the field? So definitely be on the lookout for this defense. The Super Skrull in the middle or Dorm in the middle, I believe, is going to be the correct play. Even if they attack in the middle, they try to take out Lady Deathstrike and Nimrod. Scientist Supreme has a 25% chance to revive one of these characters. And that would also give the revive chance to Super Skrull. So this here, I think, works very well in that Stage 6. So overall, what does my defense look like if you were to look at it? In Stage 1, we're using the Extreme X-Men with Dorm and Rogue. Stage 2, we're using that Night Stalkers with Captain America and Black Knight. Stage 3, we're using the Annihilators with Super Skrull and Spider-Man Pavitra. Stage 4, we have the Spider Society with Spider Weaver and Mephisto. Stage 5, we're using our Illuminati team with Odin. And for Stage 6, we're going to be using the full Orcus team. Now, I'm definitely not sold on the Stage 6. I might still end up trying somebody over the Omega Sentinel, but I do want to see what she can provide the team with those retaliate attacks, the heals and the stuns. She does provide a lot of utility, so I might just test this out, see what happens on here. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video and the defenses that I showed you guys. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, share, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.